A swim in my own pool, a tale of prejudice and justice. Imagine a scorching South Carolina afternoon, the kind where the air shimmers with heat and the cicadas hum a lazy tune. You're floating in your own backyard pool, the water cool against your skin, your mind drifting to nothing more complicated than whether to grill steak or salmon for dinner. This was my plan, my sanctuary, my hard-earned slice of peace. My name is Clarence Everett Thompson, a man in my late 50s, a lifelong student of the law, and though I kept it quiet that day, a justice on the United States Supreme Court. But what unfolded in my quiet Charleston suburb wasn't just a disruption, it was a collision of prejudice, delusion, and justice that would shake my world and spark a legal firestorm. Settle in, because this story will make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even cheer by the end. I've always been a man of order. My desk is pristine, my books arranged by subject and year, my swim trunks rotated by day of the week. That Tuesday, I wore my forest green pair, quick-dry fabric, perfect for a dip in my new pool. I'd bought this house 3 months earlier, a charming 2-story in a leafy neighborhood called Willow Creek, hoping it'd be my retirement haven. I was mid-lap, savoring the silence, when the gate to my backyard, a sturdy oak slab I'd locked myself, creaked open with an indignant groan. In waddled a woman I'll call Dolores Pritchard, a figure straight out of a bad comedy. She was middle-aged, her blonde hair a frizzy crown, her face twisted like she'd just bitten into a lemon. Her outfit was a navy blue costume, the kind you'd find in a discount bin labeled cop for Halloween. The shirt strained across her chest, the pants billowed like sails, and a plastic belt held a toy handcuff pouch and a badge that gleamed with the cheap shine of tin. She planted her hands on her hips and screeched, "Hey you, out of the pool. This ain't your public swim, and you don't belong here." I stopped swimming, treading water, and removed my goggles. "Excuse me," I said, keeping my voice low and a vena habit from years of courtroom sparring. "This is my property. I think there's been a misunderstanding." Dolores snorted, a sound like a kettle about to boil over. "Your property? Don't make me laugh, buddy. I've been in this neighborhood 6 months, and my cousin Mabel lives 2 streets over. I know who belongs, and you ain't it." Her eyes narrowed, and I caught the word she didn't say but meant. "You, a black man, don't fit the profile of Willow Creek." I tried again, patient but firm. "Ma'am, my name is Clarence Thompson. I bought this house 3 months ago. My deed's inside if you'd like proof." "Proof?" she barked. "We've had reports of drifters sneaking into pools. I'm with the Neighborhood Safety Brigade, and unless you show me ID right now, you're coming with me." She puffed up, her badge glinting like a child's toy. "Neighborhood Safety Brigade?" I raised an eyebrow. My HOA papers, which I'd read cover to cover, mentioned no such group. "And your credentials?" "We don't show credentials to people like you," she snapped, and there it was, a ugly undertone, sharp as a blade. "Now get out, or I'm hauling you off." By now, my comm was fraying, but I stayed cool. "Ma'am, you're trespassing on my property. I'm asking you politely to leave." That was the wrong move. Her face turned beet red, and she fumbled with her plastic handcuffs. "That's it. You're resisting an officer." Before I could react, she lunged toward the pool's edge, snapping a cuff on my left wrist. The cheap metal bit into my skin, and I stared, half amused, half outraged, at this absurdity. Here I was, a Supreme Court justice, cuffed in my own pool by a woman who looked like she'd lost a bet with a costume shop. "Ma'am," I said, my voice ice cold, "this is assault. If you touch me again, we'll have a problem." My mind was already cataloging statutes: trespass, battery, false imprisonment. But Dolores was beyond reason, tugging the cuff like she could drag me out of the water. Physics wasn't her friend, and I sighed, realizing my quiet swim was over. I decided physical resistance was unwise. She was unhinged, and I didn't fancy wrestling in 4 feet of water. So I climbed out, dripping, the single cuff clinking against my wrist. "Fine," I said. "Where exactly are you taking me?" "To the authorities," she declared, a button popping off her shirt in her excitement. "I'm calling a real unit to deal with you." "A real unit?" I echoed, suppressing a laugh. She grabbed my arm, her grip like a soggy vice, and marched me through my own garden to the front lawn. My security cameras, thank heavens, were rolling, capturing every second of this farce. Mrs. Larson, my neighbor who made divine peach cobbler, peeked through her blinds, her eyes wide. I couldn't blame her. This was not your average Tuesday. Dolores whipped out an ancient flip phone and dialed 911. Police. I need a unit at 12, Willow Creek Drive. I've detained a trespasser, and he's aggressive. I'm Officer Pritchard of the Neighborhood Safety Brigade. I almost corrected her address was 14 Willow Creek, but let her dig her hole deeper. When she hung up, I tried one last time. Ma'am, my wallet, deed, everything's inside. Let me get them, and we can clear this up. Forgeries, she spat. The real police will sort you out. Then, as if to prove her point, she yanked my cuffed arm so hard it twisted painfully. Instinct kicked in a self-defense move from a class I'd taken years ago. I shifted my weight, applied a gentle wrist lock, and she stumbled back, landing with a theatrical oof on my lawn. Assault, she shrieked, clutching her wrist like I'd broken it. He's attacking an officer. Just then, a police car pulled up, lights flashing discreetly. 2 officers stepped out. Officer Daniels, a young woman with a sharp gaze, and Sergeant Carter, a seasoned veteran with a calm air. They took in the scene, dripping in swim trunks, cuffed, Dolores, wailing on the grass in her bizarre uniform. Folks, what's going on? Sergeant Carter asked. Dolores scrambled up, pointing at me. This man trespassed, acted indecent, and attacked me when I tried to detain him. I kept my voice steady. Officers, this is my home. This woman entered my locked backyard, accused me of trespassing, made offensive remarks, and cuffed me. I used minimal force to stop her from yanking my arm. My ID's inside. Sergeant Carter turned to Dolores. Ma'am, you're with this neighborhood safety brigade? Got ID. It's a recognized initiative, she huffed. My cousin Mabel can vouch for me. Officer Daniels examined Dolores's badge from a distance, her lips twitching. Carter nodded to me. Sir, let's verify your residency. Officer Daniels followed me inside, where I showed her my wallet on the kitchen counter. Clarence Everett Thompson, 14, Willow Creek Drive, she read, glancing at my photos on the fridge. Looks like you live here. She tried a universal key on the cuff, and with a click, it popped off. These novelty ones are tricky, she muttered. Back outside, Dolores was mid-rant to Carter, claiming I'd broken her wrist. He listened patiently, then said, Miss Pritchard, you're alleging assault. Mr. Thompson alleges trespass and unlawful detainment. He's got security cameras. We'll need that footage. For the first time, Dolores looked nervous. I confirmed, high-def video and audio, covering the whole property. Carter sighed. All right, everyone's coming to the precinct for statements. At the station, I gave my statement to Detective Harper, a keen-eyed woman who nodded as I recounted the incident. Dolores, in another room, was presumably spinning her tale of heroism. I provided my footage the next day, and my lawyer, Henry Caldwell, a sharp-witted litigator with a dry sense of humor, took over. Clarence, he said, chuckling, this is legal comedy gold with a nasty racist streak. She's cooked. A week later, the DA's office dropped Dolores's assault charge, citing my footage showing her as the aggressor. But Dolores wasn't done. She and her lawyer, Leonard Stokes, a slick-haired ambulance chaser, filed a civil suit against me for assault, emotional distress, and medical expenses for her injured wrist. The sum was laughably inflated. Henry read the complaint and grinned. They've declared war, Clarence. A very stupid, very one-sided war. We countersued for trespass, assault, false imprisonment, defamation, malicious prosecution, and emotional distress, emphasizing the racist undertones. Discovery was a circus. Dolores's deposition was a train wreck. She contradicted herself, admitted her brigade was just her, and let slip the word uppity when describing me. Henry pounced, using invoices for her costume and badge to prove she'd impersonated authority. My deposition, by contrast, was calm and factual. Stokes tried to paint me as aggressive, but my footage shut him down. Our PI, Marcus Reed, dug up Dolores's history, complaints about neighbors' lawns, a dog she claimed was vicious, even illegal spices from a barbecue. She was a one-woman tyranny. We gathered neighbor statements, Mrs. Larson saw her manhandle me, and Mr. Conway, a retired professor, recalled her citing as overgrown azaleas. The trial was a spectacle. Stokes's opening painted Dolores as a saint attacked by a menacing stranger. Henry's was a surgical takedown, promising the footage would tell all. Dolores took the stand, crocodile tears flowing, claiming I'd hurled her to the ground. Henry's cross-examination was brutal. He showed the city's letter denying her brigade's existence, the novelty badge invoice, and the video of her trespassing, cuffing me, and flopping dramatically after I disengaged her grip. When he asked why I didn't belong, she blurted. He was uppity. The courtroom froze. Her case collapsed. Then I testified, detailing the humiliation and distress. Stokes's cross was weak, unable to dent my story. On redirect, Henry dropped the bomb. Mr. Thompson, please state your profession. I'm Clarence Everett Thompson, Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. The courtroom gasped. Dolores's jaw dropped, Stokes went pale, and even Judge Margaret Hale's eyes widened briefly. The revelation reframed everything. Dolores hadn't just harassed a homeowner. She'd targeted a justice, her prejudice now a public scandal. Judge Hale's ruling was a masterpiece. She dismissed Dolores's suit and ruled for me on all counts, awarding compensatory damages for legal fees, security upgrades, and distress, plus $250,000 in punitive damages to deter such behavior. She warned Dolores against further harassment. Dolores's meltdown was epic, screaming about conspiracies as bailiffs escorted her out. I thought it was over. But a week later, my housekeeper, Mrs. Tillman, called, distraught. Someone's vandalized the house. I flew to Charleston and found my fence defaced with racial slurs, my roses hacked, eggs smashed on my windows. My upgraded cameras caught it all. Dolores, at 2 a.m., spray painting hate and hurling eggs, tripping over a sprinkler in her rage. Sergeant Carter collected the footage, and within hours, Dolores was arrested at her cousin Mabel's house. Charged with vandalism, property destruction, and a hate crime, she tried claiming I'd faked the video. No one bought it. Facing undeniable evidence, she pleaded guilty to lesser charges. The judge sentenced her to 3 years probation, a fine, 200 hours of graffiti cleanup, anger management, racial sensitivity training, and a permanent restraining order. Dolores's life unraveled. Mabel kicked her out, and she moved to live with a distant relative, her reputation destroyed. Henry pursued the civil judgment, recovering some damages, which I donated to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and a local legal aid group. My home was restored, fence repainted, roses revived, and I rebuilt ties with neighbors like Mrs. Larson, who brought cobbler, and Mr. Conway, who shared history books. Reflecting on this saga, I'm struck by how prejudice can twist a mind into knots of delusion and cruelty. My position gave me leverage, but what about those without resources to fight back? It's why I donated the Damagesto, help others facing injustice. The law, when wielded with patience and truth, can be a mighty force. One afternoon, as I swam, a new family walked by, a young couple with 2 kids. Their boy waved, and I waved back, their smiles a reminder of community's resilience. Justice isn't about avoiding attacks. It's about responding with dignity and resolve. Dolores Pritchard's hate couldn't take that from me. What do you think? Have you faced prejudice or injustice in your life? Share your thoughts below, especially on how we confront hate and violence in our communities. Take a stand, voice your perspective, and let's keep this conversation alive.